to Fight Talk Unlimited Fanatics. This is Rich, Rebel Rails and Rich Bergeron.
Yeah, Fanatic. This is the Fanatic, Tony Pennington.
And Psychic Tom Paget, full of predictions.
All right. Well, we had a big UFC Fight Night 146. I did not see it, but apparently, from what I've heard, I haven't missed much. What I actually read today was that it was the worst offering so far of 2019, but I don't know. Did you get to see it, Tom?
No.
Well,
I don't think we missed much of anything.
Nope. Well, I could have predicted Derek Lewis wasn't going to do too well. He hasn't shown much promise since Mark Hunt's clubbed him down there at the end of his fight. But I'm just going to start right in the middle here. We had a female fight. Yana Kunitskaya beating Marion Renault by unanimous decision. It was a pretty good performance there by Kunitskaya, who continues to improve. Also had Anthony Rocco Martin beating Sergio Morales by unanimous decision. Omari Akhmedov beats Tim Boach, guy from Maine, up there where I hang out a lot. It was a unanimous decision loss for the Mainer there. Beneil Dariush beat Drew Dober by armbar submission. That was 4 minutes and 41 seconds into the second round. And if you didn't have enough decisions, there was another one in Blagoy Ivanov getting home the win over Ben Rothwell. And we had Nico Price TKOing Tim Means 4 minutes and 50 seconds into the first round punches. And co-main event was Elizu Zaleski dos Santos, obviously no relation to Junior, I don't think. And he beat Curtis Millender by rear naked choke just 2 minutes and 35 seconds into their fight. And then his brother, Junior dos Santos, came into the main event and did it in a little bit less time in the second round, though. But so a little bit more time. Took another round, almost another full round. But it was TKO for him too. Punches, 1 minute and 58 seconds into the second round. Derek Lewis falls to 21-8. Not a big deal there. Not a fantastic card, but hey, sometimes you get those. Yeah, everyone can't be all crazy exciting, It is what it is. So, UFC goes to London this weekend. We'll talk about that in a minute for UFC Fight Night 147. 47 is my lucky number, so maybe I'll get a prediction right tonight. But, yeah, there's another UFC story. This might be a little bit bigger we need to talk about first. Somebody named Conor McGregor getting in trouble. Big news.
I heard.
Yeah, I heard, Tony, if you get in trouble down in Florida and do too much carousing at night, you might end up in the same cell. Conor. Yeah, just don't take his picture if you see him. If you do, use a cheap camera.
I hope you did my own very accurate prediction from 2 years ago that they were the fight.
Yeah, it's definitely not smart on his part. But obviously he's at a club. He's socializing with his friends, and he's obviously been drinking. It's probably pretty much 100% chance that he was drinking. So obviously that doesn't forgive it, but you're gonna mess with that guy while he's drinking and while he's trying to have a good time. Chances are he's gonna do something stupid like that. So now not only is the guy is Conor McGregor facing charges, but he's also being sued by the guy already because he smashed his phone. I mean, he didn't just break the glass; he smashed his phone. Guy's just trying to take a picture, and nope. Conor says, not only can't you take my picture, but you can't have your phone anymore. And he took it. He took the smash phone. That's the worst part. So that's what got him charged with strong-arm robbery. Yeah, so win one for the paparazzi. Anyway, we'll see how that works out, but you know what? I'm curious to see how the UFC is going to react to this one, because in the case of John Jones, similar thing happened. He injured somebody, broke a wrist or something in a hit and run, and had drugs in the car and all that, and he just ran off. So the UFC hit him with a conduct penalty. But they haven't done that sort of thing to Conor. You know, he had the incident with Khabib on the bus, and threw something through a window, and got charges, and still no fine, nothing from the UFC. So, you know, obviously he's got a double standard going. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they keep that up, or if now they say, all right, you know, this kid's a bad boy. He's messing with our image now. We need to finally give him that slap on the wrist. He's been waiting for. Because the big slap on the wrist is going to be. So I'm looking forward to how that plays out, because this is a little bit bigger than your average everyday crazy McGregor thing, you know, that he does. This is pushing the boundaries even for him, because it's just like so many people can relate to that. You know, I was just trying to take his picture and he smashed my damn phone. You know? It's like, can't do that, buddy. Somebody needs to tell him, you know. I don't think you can do that in Ireland. Probably not legal there either. But yeah, we'll be watching that story. I don't know. I'm going to block your ears for this one, Tony. Teddy Atlas is saying some things that are shaking up the sport of boxing here. He has an interesting idea for how boxing could make the best fighters actually fight each other. And obviously he's got issues with the sport of boxing. He doesn't like the politics. He says, you want boxing to change? I'll tell you how it changes. Make boxing the UFC. Get Dana White. It's not happening, but he's a dictator. You know what? Dictators are usually not good, but sometimes in some places they can be useful. With the UFC and the building of that product, the development, the building, the growing of that franchise, and where did it grow, was because they had a dictator. Because the dictator could make all the rules. As I just pointed out, there were no separate power brokers in different areas that had their piece of the property and their piece of the property, and we fight on our network, we fight on our network, we do what we want to do. There was one place, one guy laying the rules out. You fight him or you're out. You fight him or you're out. And you know what? That's why he grew that sport. And that's why he grew that product. Because he could demand competitive fights. That's what you're asking for, Atlas concluded. You're just asking for the best fights. That's what the fans want. I'm just pointing out that he could do it because he was a dictator, and that's it. So that's kind of a funny theory to me. He's basically saying too many good boxers who should be fighting each other are ducking each other. So if you had a Dana White in the picture, or who would just be like, all right, you don't want to fight 3 people that I've offered you, you're fired. You know, I don't know if that's the answer, but it's crazy to hear Teddy Atlas say anything about, you know, making boxing more like the UFC to begin with. That's Teddy for you. What do you think about that, Tony?
I mean, I hate to say, I don't agree. You know, because, you know, some of the things that I've said over the years, you know, regarding UFC, the way it's run. And hey, I don't agree with the way things go to the alphabet soups and all the promoters now, and, you know, the power struggles, which we even saw 30, 40 years ago when it was mainly Don King and Bob Arum, where, you know, you basically would just go out there and, you know, as soon as King was a fighter, they were already a mandatory challenger for the WBC because he had a lot of pull with Jose Sulaiman. And then you had great fighters that wouldn't fight each other because, hey, okay, you know what? Hey, this guy's a middleweight champ of the world, and he fights for Don King. This guy's a middleweight champ, and he fights for Bob Arum. We both can be champions, and we don't have to fight each other. It's not like back in the day when there was one champion. But if you wanted to be the champion, you had to fight the champion. But at the same time, you look at, you know, the way Dana White runs things like a dictator. You know, a fighter that loses a couple fights in a row, he might get kicked out of the UFC. You know, how does that help a guy overall that's trying to make a living? I mean, yeah, you can find, you know, another organization, maybe not making as much money, or maybe not getting pay-per-views. And you take a case in point, a guy like Arturo Gatti. Gatti lost 3 fights in a row back in 1998, 1999, and then he had a pretty devastating loss to Oscar De La Hoya. People were writing him off, but it's not like he was blackballed from fighting anymore. You know, he had to work his way back to being a contender, but at the same time, he wasn't like kicked out of the organization, which is what I think you would see a dictator do. So, Teddy, I have to disagree with you on that one.
Well, I would say Exhibit 1 that Teddy is wrong is the fact that Dana White has been promising for over a year, maybe 2 years now, that he was going to do Zuffa boxing, and where the hell is it? Where is it? Because I ain't seen nothing yet. It was a double negative, but, you know. Hey, it's about time. If you're going to do it, you got to do it. And if you're not doing it, there's a reason. And the reason is probably because you can't run Zuffa boxing like you could run the UFC because of the Muhammad Ali Act. So, there's a little problem with that. But anyway, on that same note of going after the powers that be that made it this way, the UFC so crazy. You know, you guys heard about this Boeing plane? 2 accidents in a row. This latest Boeing plane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the computer's all fucked up. You know, they're shutting them down everywhere. The president actually had to go step in because the FAA was too corrupt, I guess, to do it, and shut the whole fleet down. And guess who we're going to have to shed a big tear for because they lost one of theirs. The Fertitas. Fertitta Enterprises. They own at least one of them. I don't know how many. But yeah, they're hurting now. They can't fly all their corporate greedy investors around the world and all the people they want to rape and pillage for all their money. So yeah, they're just they're shit out of luck. Their plane has been grounded. No bribes. Hey, you can use the corporate plane for an hour if you do this for me. Sorry, guys. We'll pour out a little bit of a 40 for them tonight. Right. Anyway, as far as boxing goes, we had a very, very big fight over the weekend and very controversial. Sean Porter beating Ugas.
Was not a great fight.
Not
you know, it wasn't. Fact to fact. You either get one of 2 guys. You get the very good, focused, aggressive Sean Porter. You saw he knocked out Paulie Malignaggi. You even saw when he fought Keith Thurman, he put up a very good effort. And then on the other hand, you get the herky-jerky, very amateurish, almost Billy Goat style Sean Porter, where he bounces in and out, he leads with his head, you know, doesn't throw good combinations, clinches a lot, very sloppy fighting. And unfortunately on this night against Ugas, who is a spoiler type of fighter, he's very talented, you know, he can be tough to figure out. You got that very amateur style of Sean Porter, where there was no rhythm to it whatsoever. It was not that good a fight. I actually dozed off around the 8th round. But when I fell asleep, I had Ugas, I think, up maybe say 5 rounds to 3. But they were hard rounds to score. They really were, because there wasn't a lot of clean punches being landed, and there was a lot of holding and grappling and mauling in there. It was, and not an aesthetically pleasing fight to watch.
Yeah, Porter's style just demands that anyway. He just kind of brings that out of his opponents because he's a very fast paced, but at times sloppy fighter. So it's just a matter of how exactly. Usually that wins fights. But if you get a guy that just hangs in there, takes it, and scores points and fights smart, you ought to give him the benefit of the doubt. But it sounds like they overlooked that because Porter was just more active, maybe. I don't know. It was just hard.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Porter's first appearance on Friday Night Fights when he was fresh out of the amateurs. He was that game called the Pogo back in the 80s. You guys probably don't remember that. That was an idiotic craze. Maybe it's still going in some type. Hopefully it died out in the 80s. I don't know. But it was just, he did not serve himself well. I think Ugas could have done some more too, but really the onus was on Porter to shine, not just win and 10 to 9 and get the decision. But shine, that division, the stat was superstar. Yeah. And that kind of performance was not dance. Yeah.
We had interviewed Porter a couple weeks before that fight on ESPN, and I remember saying to my dad, I'm like, hey, this guy's going to be on tonight. We just interviewed him a few weeks ago. Really looking forward to seeing this, and we were watching it together. He goes, because, man, I think this boy ain't showing me shit right now.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, you're right. Yeah. Then look, and, but it was one of those performances.
We losing you guys?
No, I think we just have bad connection. I can hear everybody now.
Tom, did we lose you? I think we lost Tom. 3 or 4 in the call. Tom, you there? What happened? Where'd Tom go? Ooh. There it is. Calling all times. We need our psychic. Can't do the show without psychic intervention.
Okay, let's try again.
Yes. All right.
There we go.
We're back. So, so that was kind of a disaster. Another black eye for boxing, I guess, because there was a lot of complaints on the decision. And when a guy like really has an opportunity like that, and he earns a win, I can just hear people like John Scully and Teddy Atlas screaming because it's like, those are the kind of people that really understand what goes into an effort like that and what will happen to your life when you get a chance like that and you take it and you earn it and you win. And it's kind of one of those things that you have to admit that boxing has never been able to fix for some reason. It just doesn't make any sense to me why they cannot get people to be able to understand the value of that scoring that makes sense, basically, because it's not really that objective where you can defend somebody that gets their ass kicked on any given day. And there's judges that have given cards that it's just like, that dude just got his ass kicked and you scored the fight, a win for him? I just don't get it. I don't get how you can even computate that. And what happens is usually it's somebody who has no experience in the sport who's done it. So maybe you just have to get people who have actually fought themselves to be judges. And it shouldn't be too hard. I mean, I bet they would love it if you asked them and gave them access to the training. A lot of those ex-fighters. No, I'm sure Mike Tyson would love the paycheck. Be a guest judge. Anyway, that's my soapbox, right? On that one. We also had a little bit of an upset last week. Dimitri Bivol beating Joe Smith Jr. Another loss for Joe. Trying to put the pieces back together after losing his belt there, and just can't seem to get a win streak going, I guess. Bivol didn't even have that many fights. But it's just one of those things.
No, but Dimitri Bivol is a champion. I got to see one of his fights back in the summer, and he is a very talented fighter. That night when I saw him, he beat Kalemba 107 every round. Had a pretty good, impressive, has a win over Joe Smith Jr. And at the time, they were trying to groom a fight between Dimitri Bivol and Sergey Kovalev, but then Kovalev had got knocked out by Alvarez, and he had to rebuild his pieces. Now that Alvarez has since won that title back, Bivol is still, undefeated and still coming on strong. I think now they can go back to the drawing board and try to make that old lion versus young lion fight.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. So let's go to this Saturday. Coming up, 3/16. Big date, biblical terms. Right? That's the big sports thing, 3/16. Up in Quebec, kind of an interesting card. We got somebody's name I'm not going to pronounce correctly at all. I'm going to say it already. Batarzan Jukambayev. He is 14-0, fighting Gilberto Meza, 10-5-1 in super lightweight. No title on the line there, but welterweights. Interesting fight here. And co-main event. Ghislaine Madumba. He has 20 wins, 3 losses, and he's fighting Miguel Vasquez, who has 40 wins and 7 losses. A good one there. And then we got somebody's always got to go from the early career of these two. Artem Oganesian, he is 8-0. This is in Montreal. He's fighting Damian Sosa, who's 11-0. It's for the vacant WBO Youth Super Welterweight title. That's the only big one on that card. Got fights in the Dominican Republic this weekend. That's France. Big one over in Germany. We've got quite a few belts on the line. Female ones. Alicia Melina Kumar. She is 12-1, fighting Priska Vikot, who is 9-5 for the Global Boxing Council World Female Super Lightweight title, the vacant Universal Boxing Federation World Female Super Lightweight title, the vacant Universal Boxing Organization World Female Super Lightweight title, and the Women's International Boxing Association World Super Lightweight title. That's a lot of stuff. I'm feeling bad for the announcer doing that. Having to read all that before damn it down to the girls' names. Anyway, co-main event there, Nico Benitez. He is 20-0, fighting Beto Berkashvili. He is 10-3. That one's for the vacant Global Boxing Council Youth Super Featherweight title. You guys gotta shorten your title names. It's bad. You know, this country is hungry for fights because there's this one fight card in Hungary. Light heavyweight, it's the main event. 0-2 versus 1-1. All of that.
No draws.
No draws.
Yeah.
For one guy. And we got co-main event, super middleweights, 5-5 21 versus 2-16-2, and you're gonna love this guy's name, Lajos Bimbo. He's 2-16, 2-16-2, Lajos Bimbo. Bad. Hey, who are you fighting this week? Bimbo. It's gonna be an easy one. And we got Gifu, Japan. It's a big fight card on Saturday this week in Japan. Kosi Tanaka, he's 12-0, fighting Ryoichi Taguchi, who's 27-3-2 for the WBO World Flyweight title. And then you've got 7-0 Kento Hatanaka. He is fighting for the WBC Youth World Flyweight title, fighting against Song Sayang 4am, who is 6-1. And we got another Aka, Yushi Tanaka. He is 21-2-3, fighting Yaogu Yu, who is 5-1-2. So that's a tough one. When you ask that Tanaka who he's fighting, he says, "You." What do you mean? You. Yaogu Yu. Pretty much good stuff. Here we go. Puerto Rico has some good fights here. World Boxing Association Featherweight Super Featherweight title in the main event. Jason Velez, he's 27-5-1, fighting Victor Terrazas. He is 38-5-2. A lot of experience in doing there. And this is going to be on DirecTV here in the United States. Also, Nestor Bravo, 15-0, fighting Rolando Chinea, who's 15-2-1. Alberto Mercado, 15-2-1, fighting Sergio Lopez, who is 22-13-1. And the Bravo versus Chinea fight is for the WBC Latino lightweight title. And then we got the Latino Silver Super Featherweight title between Lopez and Mercado. So, what's going on? I know we got the St. Patrick's Day show there in Boston. We'll get to that eventually with our guest from last week, Mark the Bazooka DeLuca.
Yep.
There it is, yeah. Fighting Jimmy Williams. Mark is. He's 22-1. Jimmy is 16-1-1. And it's for the NABA Super Welterweight title, which Mark grabbed back from the guy who took it from him briefly, also a former guest of ours. And then Charles Foster in the co-main event, fighting Mike Jimenez. Charles is 17-0 at light heavyweight. Jimenez is 22-1-2. That's for the NABA light heavyweight title. And do you guys like how I didn't tell Mark that I interviewed his opponent before him?
Yeah, that was good.
Things might have gone south at that point, I thought. So, best to keep that to myself. But yeah, it was a good stroll down memory lane there on some of the stuff we talked about. We'll be pulling for him, and the good news is we don't have to go to any website to watch it. You just go to Facebook because it's on Fight Night Live now. They've decided to cover this. I just posted it on the website today.
There's the fight tomorrow night in Philly. I think is on either live or some type of app where you can you're able to watch it.
Right. So we'll be able to tune in and see it for ourselves, and I know we won't be able to hear it, but I'll yell at the screen to see if that helps them. Anyway, Super Welterweight, Gary O'Sullivan also on the card. He's 29-3, fighting Kiari Gray, who's 16-4. And boy, this is weird coming from the United States, but this has got to be the mismatch of the month. Levante Early in the main event in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. He is 7-0, Levante. Matt Murphy, who's 3-33-4. And wait a second, you got to give it a chance. Okay, you got to listen to the co-main event. Co-main event is Stevie Massey. He's a super featherweight. His record is 8-1. He's fighting Darrell Harris, who is 1-10-1.
Ouch.
Bad.
Well, at least that's a symmetrical record right there.
All right.
You see, I think we have all prime numbers, huh? No,
and the biggest boxing card of the week, of course, is so big that they had to do it in Cowboy Stadium. So we have Errol Spence Jr. in the main event. This is a Fox pay-per-view. The first time Fox is doing pay-per-view through Premier Boxing Champions. And Errol Spence Jr. there, he is 24-0 fighting Mikey Garcia, who is 39-0 for the IBF World welterweight title. It's definitely the somebody
got to go.
Somebody has definitely got to go. But yeah, they have 2 O's though, so it could be one or the other if it's a tie. That goes. So it's definitely qualifies. But for Garcia, it's obviously a bigger deal because it's 40 wins. Errol's going to be just at 25. But, anytime you got people that are this world class in talent, sometimes the experience level doesn't matter as much as the pure skill. Sometimes somebody just has more skill than somebody else. So you can't necessarily go by experience and number of fights when you have undefeated fighters like this. This is going to be a very dynamic strategy situation. Who's got the better strategy? Who's got the more aggression? I think it's going to be one of the most entertaining fights of the year. And it's just, it's pretty crazy that it's happening even at this level.
Well, and I think it's great that's happening. This is what, fighters want to be great. They got to take the risks like that. And I always go back to the Leonard and Hearn or Leonard and Duran. Those guys were willing to go out there and, match up against the best. They didn't, it wasn't like, you got to do this on my terms, or no, I have to pick the gloves. It was, let's get in there, let's put our records on the line and let's get the best walk out of here. That's, that's a great fighter too. Great fighters are always willing to challenge themselves. So now you've got 2 on the verge of being great fighters. You have Errol Spence, undefeated. You have Mike Garcia, undefeated. Mike Garcia, who's moved up through several weight classes to capture titles. And he's been almost untouchable on this. You got Errol Spence, who's really burst onto the scene, and he's been nearly untouchable in a lot of his fights. Well, someone is going to be touched in this fight, and I know a lot of early money was going towards Spence because of his natural side, but lately I've seen a lot of people leaning towards Garcia just because of his overall skill and versatility. I am still on the fence, and I'm still leaning towards Errol Spence, not making a bad rhyme there, but I see it being a very tight. I see it being one of those fights where it's a lot of ebb and flow, and I'm not going to say we're like, oh, this fighter's down, or this fighter's down like a Foreman Lyle or anything, but I see it being one of those tight, contested, very competitive fights, almost in a way of Leonard Benitez, were 2 very, very, very good fighters, great fighters out there, and their skill level was so high. So even if there were times when the guys weren't, rock'em sock'em robots, everything was at such a high pace and high level of proficiency that I think that's what you're going to get here. And I just think in his hometown, Errol Spence is going to walk out with a close decision win. Close.
Tony, I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you why I agree with you. Because I think that Garcia could overcome the size advantage against many welterweights. And if the problem is Spence is so technical. He's so technically solid and I just think it may be just too much of a mountain to climb. But I agree with you. That could be a lot of ebb and flow. But I got to go with Spence.
Yeah. And before we get into anything else, I do want to mention the fight card at the Temple University Elite Core Center tomorrow night. A very good card. We got Gabriel Rosado on there, who always gives you a great fight. Gabe is a throwback type fighter. And then you have the Philadelphia War, which they've been talking a lot about, which is the old lion versus the young lion. Hammer and Hank Lundy, who is a veteran of about 40 fights now, or close to it, and he's fighting a guy that's only had about 13 fights. Avery Sparrow, I think, was like 12-1-1 maybe. But I've seen Avery Sparrow fight. He's a highly skilled fighter. Obviously, I've seen Hank Lundy fight, and who's fought for a world title. So I think you have youth versus experience there. You got a lot of bad blood in this fight, and could this be a fight where Lundy's Achilles heel and his chin haunts him? Possible. But he also, like I said, is a higher experienced fighter. He's got a higher level of quality. Will that thwart the young lion? I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to go to this one because I think it's going to be an excellent card. And they actually, a lot of people were talking in the Philadelphia area, remind them of a fight which they actually, in a way, kind of paid homage to in the first Creed movie, and which, lo and behold, it was a team with Gabriel Rosado, who's on the card. But it was a fight back in the late 80s, I think it was more like the early 90s, maybe around 92-ish, and it was a fighter, Frankie the Matador Mitchell, who went on to fight Julio Cesar Chavez, and a Irish kid named Anthony Boyle, very tough fighter. And those two guys actually trained out of the same gym. So they had to actually alter their training schedules because they were training in the same gym. Mitchell eventually won that fight. I think it was like an 11th round TKO. But it was like, how crazy is that? Well, then they kind of paid homage in the first Creed when the Adonis Creed character was going to fight the Gabe Rosado character. And they were both at Mickey's gym, and Rocky's like, I'm going to take you to another gym because I don't want you training in the same gym your opponent's going to fight out of. And then he takes him to the Front Street gym in Kensington, which happened to be the gym of both Frankie Mitchell and Anthony Boyle. So a lot of people won't know that connection. Just by being in Philadelphia, I do.
Whoa. They did that on purpose? Or by accident?
Yeah, I would say yeah. No, I would say they did that on purpose.
Wow.
Anybody that really knows history of Philadelphia fighting, and, even, you're going to have guys that are helping out. I mean, we have so many people, like, in those movies that are affiliated with Philadelphia boxing. They can say, hey, we can maybe add this in there, or maybe do this as kind of like a homage. Because then you have, because in that movie you had Gabe Rosado, Philadelphia. You had, what was the referee? Sean Clark was the referee, Philadelphia referee. You had Joey Nye, the one trainer was in that scene. So you got all these Philadelphia historical guys, so, they can, pipe in. They can, obviously make suggestions. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that for sure. I know that was done intentionally.
Well, speaking of Philadelphia, we forgot to mention from last week's results another robbery of your boy, Joey DeWaco.
Yeah.
Majority decision loss, but a lot of people thought either he at least showed a crazy amount of heart and should have at least gotten a draw, or most people thought he won. And he could have got a title, the WBA Intercontinental Heavyweight title, over Sergey Kuzmin, who came in undefeated. And, this is his third loss in a row, seventh of his career. So he goes to 19-7-4. But yeah, it's not a good week for decisions, I guess. And then we have the co-main event of the Arlington, Texas show. Not if somebody's always got a go fight, but pretty close. One one guy's undefeated. David Benavidez, 20-0, fighting Julian Love, who's 24-2-1 at super middleweight. No title there. Another guy with 2 losses, Joe Arroyo, in a bantamweight fight against Luis Neary, who is 28-0. So tough matchup there for Mick Joe. And then we got former guest of ours, Chris Arreola, 37-5-1 at heavyweight, fighting Jean-Pierre Augustin, who is 17-0-1. Undefeated there. Another heavyweight fight too. Gregory Corbin, undefeated at 15-0, fighting Charles Martin, who's 25-2-1. That about rounds it out for the big deal fights. And we got UFC Fight Night 147 coming from London this weekend. So probably going to be a little bit of a time difference situation. Darren Till in the main event. He is 17-1-1, fighting Jorge Masvidal, who is 32-13. And very crafty fighters. We got the big Game of Thrones coming out soon, and I used to do that separated at birth thing on the website where I put pictures of people that look alike from combat sports, and then for the celebrities. So yeah, Jorge Masvidal looks like Jon Snow, I think, the Jon Snow character. I don't know what the guy's real name is, but if you put those two side to side, it looks a lot like him. Anyway, co-main event, Leon Edwards, 16-3, fighting Gunnar Nelson, who is 17-3-1. We got Dominic Reyes, 10-0, fighting Volkan Ozdemir, 15-3. Nathaniel Wood, 15-3, fighting Jose Alberto Quinones, who's 7-2. Claudio Henrique da Silva, 12-1, fighting Danny Roberts, who's 16-3. The 8th fight of the night, Jack Marshman comes in at 22-8, fighting John Phillips, who's 21-8. And we got Arnold Allen, 13-1, fighting Jordan Rinaldi, who is 14-6. Joseph Duffy, 16-3, fighting Mark Diakiese, who is 12-3. Nikolai Negamariano, who is 9-0, fighting Saparbek Safarov, who's 8-2. Tom Breeze, 11-1, fighting Ian Heinisch, who is 12-1. Dan Eig, who is 10-2, fighting Danny Henry, who is 12-2. Then we got a female fight, Priscilla Capoeira, who is 8-1, fighting Molly McCann, who is 7-2. First fight of the night, Nad Narimani, 12-2, fighting Mike Grundy, who is 11-1. And so we're down to news, I guess. And big sad news over the weekend. We had the tragic loss of Frida Foreman. Turns out it was a suicide. She's our age, only like 40, 42 or something like that. So it was a big surprise. I interviewed her back when we were a MySpace page, and I was almost afraid to ask her if we could get anything from her dad. Because I'm sure she dealt with that her whole life of oh, you're George Foreman's daughter, give me an autograph, or just using her for that. And I didn't want to give her that impression, So I interviewed her a few times and never even asked about her dad. But yeah, it was kind of interesting to talk to her, because she was really the first offspring of George to get into professional boxing, and so few people know about it. She was tough too. She had a 5-2 record. Monk, one of George's younger sons, got into it later and had a great record. I think he was undefeated, but he got out of it quick. And she was in female fighting before female fighting was cool. So yeah, I don't know how much she appreciated that herself, but it was quite an accomplishment. It's coming from that lineage. Obviously, a lot of pressure to do well, and she did. And just it's one of those things, you know. Life gets you down. You gotta reach out and find somebody to help you out, or talk to somebody. That's it. That's all it is. You know? Get out to the world, get some fresh air and sunlight, and stop taking those pharmaceuticals. Please, I don't get how you get a pharmaceutical setup where the main side effect of a drug that's supposed to treat depression is suicidal thoughts. I don't know where the logic is of doctors here. Seriously, though, it's like it's madness. That's the system we have.
Well, I do have a few. Stay on the next day. But I did get the opportunity, as you guys probably saw in the photos, to go to visit my friend Hank last week, and I know Tom, I did get your response, and I thank you for that. Because I had a real hard time, getting myself ready to do it. I had gotten the word last Monday night that they were bringing him home from the hospital, and it was not a good prognosis. And I saw the video on Tuesday when he came home. They had the fire engines there, and they had a marching band there, just put him home, and they brought him out of the ambulance on the stretcher and all that. And he was waving at people, and I'm like, I have this sick feeling in my stomach, and I was a guy that I train at the LA Fitness, and I'm like, Rob, I don't know what I can do. I mean, because he's looking at me, he goes, telling me, you've been hanging your head all week. He goes, I can tell you're not focused. And I'm like, I don't know what I can do, Rob. And he's like, yo, he goes, you got to go. He's like, you have to. He's like, he goes, because the last thing you want is, he goes, I know it's hard. He goes, the last thing you're going to want is for him to pass. And then you're sitting there having a lot of regrets. He goes, you got to go out there, no regrets. So I sucked it up. And then on Friday, I made the conscious decision that I'll do it on Saturday. Messaged his one daughter in the morning because I said, the last thing I want to do is intrude on family time. Because I don't know, as it's getting closer, and I don't want to be the person to show up when it's the last right or anything like that. So they said, no. They said, today is fine. What time are you thinking? Afternoon would be better. I said, yes, afternoon is fine. They said, come around 3. I said, okay, I'll be there. And I said, and I'm breaking out the Philly outfit because I know he wants to see it. I know he wanted to see the new one. So I said, okay. I said, I'm wearing the Philly outfit. So I got there, and there were people there. I'm like, right, there are people here. This is good. This is what I want. I'm not there by myself. But unlike the hospital on Super Bowl Sunday when he was running a high fever and he was incoherent, and he was really laboring with his breathing, he was throwing up, he was alert, he was laughing, he was talking like me back on the TV show. We talked, and then he got very stubborn at one point because Grant had flown in that morning from Atlanta. He was a big part of Michael Grant's managerial team, and Michael Grant. So he said, I want you to meet Michael Grant. I said, okay. And he goes to his daughter, his oldest daughter, he goes, go upstairs and get him. And she's like, well, Dad, he's sleeping. He just flew in today. Let him sleep for a little bit. I said, go get him right now. His daughter looks at me, she goes, will you tell my dad you're going to be here for a while? And I looked at him and said, Rock, I'll be here for a while. Well, I said, let the man sleep. I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere. So then finally, about a half hour later, Michael did come down. And, and then, Hank had these huge pairs of boxes of those everybody signed. And he was making people get pictures with them. And then we put the gloves on him and held his hands up. And it was a very good day. I've seen other photos where he's still fighting, and I know I'm going to be away a few days. I made sure his family knew that, so if something does happen, I'm going to make sure that they don't think there's any disrespect on my part. But it was a good day. I'm glad I went. I got to talk to Michael Grant, got to, meet him. So, it was, a memorable event, let's put it that way.
Yeah, those are some awesome pictures.
Yeah.
On and everything.
And,
he definitely looked like he appreciated it. He was happy.
Yeah, like I said. Yeah, and I'll tell you, where like you flub something and then later you're like, oh shit. Well, I have one of those moments, totally unintentional. But I'm sure nobody, minded. So we're sitting there talking, and it was around and I'm driving home, and they had Hank set up in the living room right in front of the TVs. They put, the different programs on for him that he likes, and they put DVDs on for him and stuff. And I was like, hey, Rock, there'll be some good fights on tonight, And I'm telling my friends, hey, my guys, there'll be some good fights tonight. We got a good welterweight fight on, not knowing it wasn't going to be that good. Who was one of the lead commentators last week? Does anybody remember?
Was it Michael Grant?
No, it wasn't Michael Grant. Michael Grant was sitting over at Hank's house, going to watch the fight. Do you remember who one of the commentators was?
No, I didn't watch him. So.
Well, it's not a good thing when you tell Michael Grant he should watch the fights, and one of the commentators is Lennox Lewis, who knocked him out in 2 rounds.
Does he not like the guy?
So like, I went home, I turned the fights on, I'm like, oh God, I hope they're not watching this.
I'm sure he'll forgive you. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, listen, I got to check the pack, and I'm leaving my house at like 6 a.m. tomorrow.
All right. Well, we were gonna close out anyway. So, hasta la vista. Have a good night, and thanks for stopping by, everybody. And we'll have much more to talk about next week, possibly a guest.
Also, some fantastic photos from Florida. It might surprise you, but I'm going to be in my police attire trying to get in front of TVs.
All right. Well, I'm sure that has a greater percentage of happening now. He'll be the flashiest guy in town.
I'll try to.
All right.
See you guys later.
Awesome. Great show.